Oh, that's fantastic for all of California, if not the world's number one 49ers reporter from The Athletic. Get yourself an Athletic subscription. Like we have two in the household. Best sports journalism anywhere, they say, by the way. They say that. And the one, the only, the longest tenured guest on this program joins us for I believe we talked about this on the phone, his 10th straight season, which means he is eligible for a pension.
Yeah, is he okay? Why does he keep coming back for us?
Well, it was tough.
Yeah.
We negotiated all the way till the end.
Okay.
But in the end, we signed him earlier this week. He got on a plane. He said, I'm back. And here he is right now, Matt Barrows. Good morning, Matt.
I heard that you get a free Honda in your 10th season. Is that accurate?
I heard the same. Also, unconfirmed reports that when you found out it was your 10th year on the program, Matt, that you choked up.
Yeah, you know, right. I'm definitely worried that footage is going to be dug up.
We don't have it. We had a dump on the audio about 5 years ago. It's the one clip. For those of you who don't know, Matt took a sip of water. I want to say it was the first year we were together. Took a sip of water. Something went down.
We almost lost Matt.
We almost lost him. And at one point, we had a clip of him actually going, Dave. And I'm thinking, I don't know what to do here. I hope Matt's not dying. Apparently, he aspirated some water, and he's never been better. He's fully recovered after a long off season of rehab.
Yeah, no, that was a close call. I remember that day. It actually happened. I would have to go out to my car to do these instead of doing them in front of 12 other reporters in a tiny little media room, and it was along a road that doesn't exist anymore. That's where Levi's Stadium was built. I would have been like Jimmy Hoffa, like buried underneath an NFL stadium.
That's in the north end zone.
That is the site of where Matt Barrows' tragedy happened.
We're glad you lived, Matt.
Yes.
It was a harrowing experience, but I can look on it with laughter now that I pulled through.
Well, Matt, I know the story that you thought would eventually get here, finally got here yesterday with the signing of Nick Bosa. You covered it long enough. I feel like you should get a percentage of the cut there, don't you?
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So how do we get there? I mean, it took a little bit longer, I think, for some of us getting a little uncomfortable, but we're here. He's the highest paid guy. It makes a ton of sense. Is it just everything's good now? Nothing to see here anymore with Bosa?
Yeah, I think so. And it wasn't just uncomfortable for fans and viewers of this team. It was getting uncomfortable inside the organization. I mean, Kyle Shanahan was preparing for a press conference in which he was going to, dodge all the Bosa questions that were to come his way. And it was going to be a kind of dour and downcast presser. And then the news happens right as he's coming in. And it's the total opposite. He can't wipe the smile from his face. One joke after another. I mean, he's the happiest I've ever seen him in a presser, and it was like that inside the 49ers locker room as well. It was just giddy that this guy was rejoining the team. A big sigh of relief that okay, we are whole and going into Pittsburgh at full strength. And everything's going to be fine. I mean, and it was a 180-degree turn because there was a bit of a weight around this team. Some oddball things happened. Trey Lance, kicker's injured. George Kittle's injured. All sorts of stuff that sort of made it an unhappy situation. And I tell you, it was the exact opposite once that news goes down.
What a great moment too. What a great situation, going in thinking you're walking into your own funeral basically, and then you find out your reigning defensive player of the year is back. Good thing there was a podium that he was standing behind probably. Now we get to the nuts and bolts. I asked you this I alluded to this when you and I talked earlier this week. And again, I don't blame you if you don't know. I've just been curious all week during the Bosa negotiations. Is there any light you can shed on the involvement or non-involvement of Parag Marathe, who has always been kind of the behind-the-scenes cap wizard, the guy who's been involved in all of these now, and I mentioned this to listeners the last couple of days, the chairman of Leeds United over in England. That's not a day job, that's a full-time job, and I'm just honestly curious if there was much involvement from him in this case with Bosa.
No, there was. I mean, this is his primary job with the 49ers, is to do these high-stake negotiations. I think his number two, a guy named Brian Hampton, does most of this stuff. Parag Marathe is not doing the undrafted free agent signings.
Right.
Other people on his staff are doing that, but he comes in for the Bosa stuff, and I don't think it's a situation where he's up for 17 hours, faxing offers to Brian Aralt, who is Bosa's agent. I think it's a very, very slow-moving, methodical process that does have a crescendo, like we saw yesterday. But my point is that I don't think that it's as time-consuming as maybe we think it is, and that he can handle all the lead stuff plus this as well. I mean, there's a target that they're shooting for. Obviously, Aralt has his own one, and they have to figure it out. But I don't think it's quite as work-intensive that it would affect his other job in the organization.
Matt, this weekend, Pittsburgh, I mean, this is a really good week one matchup. Niners defense is good. So is Pittsburgh's, though. How do you think Brock Purdy, now that it's his job, he's the one leading this offense, handles this Pittsburgh defense this week?
Yeah, it's a tale of two second-year quarterbacks taken in different points of the draft, going up against a pair of really good defensive lines with one really good edge rusher and one really good interior pass rusher on both teams. I mean, Purdy has more weapons, and he to his credit, he looked in the preseason like he did at the end of the regular season and into the playoffs. So, I mean, that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting efficient Brock Purdy, who can throw the ball to Ayuk on one play, to George Kittle on the next, and to Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel on the next two. It just has a lot of weapons and a system that seems custom built for all four of those guys I just mentioned. To me, the question with him is interceptions. He had a very low total of 4 and none in the playoffs last year. He threw a lot in training camp, and just going back and rewatching those 8 starts last year, there were quite a few instances where the defense just drops a ball.
Yeah.
I mean, not even a sort of a tough pass to handle. He just gets lucky a couple of times. And so the question is, what is his interception rate going to be, and is that going to be problematic for him? So I think that's the only sort of red flag or question mark I have with Brock Purdy heading into this season.
Matt Barrows joining us. In addition to the great news about Nick Bosa, and Kyle Shanahan was asked, I'm paraphrasing, how many snaps is he available for? And he said, how many snaps are in the game? So it sounds like there won't be a limit on Bosa. George Kittle, also some good news with him. Anything you're keeping an eye on injury-wise going into Sunday's game?
Well, both of their safeties are on the injury report. Talanoa Hufanga had this thing called a Baker's cyst in his knee, which to me doesn't sound very great, but the 49ers insist that it's not going to be a big issue moving forward, and he'll get over it. And he seems to be moving around pretty well. His counterpart, Tashawn Gibson, has a back injury. He's been out of practice for, a good 10 days now. He practiced on a limited basis, but you see back, and that makes you worry. And I think that the Steelers are a team that is going to attack you deep. And the 49ers didn't really have a lot of opponents like that last year. I think that an ideal Steelers game plan for them is to hammer away with a run, and once those safeties take one step forward, you attack them deep with Johnson and Pickens and some of their their bigger-bodied, fast receivers. So that's a bit of a question mark in my mind. How well are those safeties going to be able to move? And will the Steelers try to take advantage with those big chunk plays down the field?
I know there's been a lot of kind of national thought that this team is good enough to get to the Super Bowl. Do you get that same just general feel being around the team that it's, I don't know, for lack of a better term, Matt, kind of Super Bowl or bust this year for this team?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they've got this collection of all-stars, and I know that Brock Purdy felt this way last year when he came in at the end of the season, is that he felt like he had this responsibility to guys like George Kittle, to Trent Williams, to kind of carry the team the rest of the way. And I'm sure he feels the same way this year. It's a big responsibility. He's sort of the guy that's, obviously distributing the ball, but kind of making all those all-stars work. They absolutely feel that way. I think that was sort of the subtext of that kind of the giddy nature of the locker room yesterday. That, okay, we're at full strength right now. And at full strength, we really can't be stopped. And so it'll be fun to watch. I mean, this has not been a team that starts out very well, really ever under Kyle Shanahan. They went 8-0 in 2019 to start out that season. That was the outlier. Every other year, they've either had a losing record at the midpoint or they've been 500 at the midpoint. And so I know that's on the forefront of Kyle Shanahan's mind this week. Try to get them off to a faster start so that, if you do encounter the Eagles again in January, you're doing it at Levi Stadium and not in South Philly.
Matt Barrows joining us. All right. Now that the Bosa stuff's out of the way, now that, Purdy's QB1, all the other drama has been dealt with, there's one nagging mosquito buzzing around every Niner fan's ear, and that's the kicking game. Can you give us an update? Is it Moody? We're good to go. All systems forward, whatever. What's the deal with the rookie?
Yeah, it's going to be Moody, and I would doubt that it's all systems go in that. I'm not sure that they want him doing kickoffs, for example, if he's coming off a quad strain.
Wishnowski on kickoffs?
What's that?
Wishnowski on kickoffs then?
Yeah, they would move Mitch Wishnowski to kickoffs. He's done it in the past. He hasn't done it well, however, and that's part of the reason why they moved off of Robbie Gould and went with a rookie. The rookie's got the bigger leg, the fresher leg. He's going to be able to kind of blast it a little bit more. So, special teams is a bit of a concern because, not just Moody, it's Ray McLeod. Yeah. He's back. He practiced yesterday, but he's going to be practicing with a brace on his wrist. Broke his wrist in mid-August. And so, he's the return man who's got a brace on his wrist. So, that could be a bit of a, as you describe it, a mosquito around this team going to Pittsburgh as well.
That's Matt Barrows. One last thing, Matt. You'll be in Pittsburgh for this game, I believe. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
All right. So, important. Doritos breaded corn dog on a bed of Doritos and served with nacho cheese is one of the new offerings at Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh. Is that something you may take a chance on?
Is that gluten free? Are there any gluten free
options?
It's Pittsburgh, Matt.
Items
there's actually, it's Pittsburgh. There's extra gluten.
Yeah, they add gluten to everything.
Yeah, everything has spaghetti on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they stuff French fries into sandwiches there. Yeah.
Well, good luck, and as always, we appreciate you coming back each and every week for what is hopefully a run to the Super Bowl and beyond. For these
I'll be talking to you guys well into February, right?
I sure hope so. We're now the home of the 49ers, so yes, maybe even February. Thank you, Matt, and have a safe trip. We'll talk to you early next week.
All right, thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. It's Matt Barrows. Question for you.